and justified intimidate African Americans. S&P 500 futures are little changed this morning. Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
Good morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest-running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocket.radio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
We're on the air with Coffee Ann here on ON AM and FM radio. Good morning, everybody. Dave Richards here. Joe's not here. And he'll be back next Tuesday. Actually, no, he'll be back on Monday, kind of. We gave him, this guy's really smart. He gets the week off, this week. But he says, Monday was the day I was going to get off anyway because it was like Christmas Day. Can I have New Year's Day off? And I say, yes, you can have New Year's Day off. I'm used to working alone on New Year's Day, not going out, not having any fun, coming into work for everybody else. I'm used to that. Sure, if you want the day off. He says, knock it off, Dave. Anyway. That's what I was thinking, too. Yeah. So, yeah. But he's going to record Coffee Ann for Monday. That's what he told me. So, because you think I'm getting anybody come in here at 8 o'clock in the morning on Monday morning, on New Year's Day? No, that wouldn't happen. So he's going to record it. What a nice guy. I don't know what I'd do without Joe. So anyway, and then on Tuesday, we'll be back together again. And who cares about all of that stuff? What you care about is Coffee Ann. So let's get our panelists up on the air over here. We have Bob Larder, who is here, looking most studious and knowledgeable in his profession. And
you haven't been to Koch Eye recently, have you?
I have to tell you, I go to Atlantic Family Eye Care, and I just got these replaced this year.
You did?
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
You think I need to clean them? Is that the deal? Is that what you're going for?
It needs a little bit of
Okay. Well, okay, I could do
who's
that.
the woman sitting next to me who came in
To your
with a
left.
scarf?
Oh yes. Sue Tessia McKenzie is here, representing the Call and the Times. Oh yes, the microphones are too soft. Thank you very much, Denise. She watches my back on that because I can't hear. I'm not out there. I can't tell. All right, so there she is.
Hear.
I know, right?
Is this seeing eye dog out in the hallway?
And so,
Okay.
On that note,
your segment has got moved to the second portion because sometimes you can't make it at 8 o'clock.
sometimes
Am I
I'm
right
not
on
here
that?
at 8, sometimes I'm here at 8:15.
Do you want to do it
sometimes-
now and get it out of the way, or do you want to wait till 1:15? What's your choice? Ladies' choice today.
Let's just do it. I'm always on the spot anyway.
All right, go for it. While you do it, I'm
anyway,
going to
so
adjust your camera and get a
I
close-up.
had spoken on the radio, weekly actually, about the construction or lack thereof that's been going on in the building. And the last time I was here, I mentioned possibly going on from back to front and top to bottom, and apparently that's what's happening. I did notice that the back windows have all been covered with a plastic, which wasn't like that like a week or two ago. So the progress has been slow. A lot of it has to do with the fact that it is a historical building, but we will be back on Main Street, 75 Main Street. In the meantime, if anybody needs anything, by all means call my cell phone, 487-4136. Missing deliveries, missing back editions of the paper, or if you're looking to vamp it up a bit with your advertising for 2024, you can give me a call on my cell at 487-4136.
When you've been around for 131 years, what's a few more months, right?
Right. Right. It's like you.
You have been around for 131 years?
Not you. I'm talking.
then-
She's
That's
representing. Come on now. She's
okay.
representing the newspaper.
Good. I'm glad you clarified that. I
Right?
mean,
Back to
you
the
look
glasses.
fantastic, and
For that age, right?
No, you know what I'm talking about.
when I was
The
trying
call's
to talk
been
about
around for 131 years.
when I was talking about the seeing eye dog, you said Melissa was on a rescue mission.
She is.
For dogs. What's going on?
Well, it's personal business. I don't know how much she wants me to talk about it in public, but she's helping a friend. she made a promise to a friend, and she's helping a friend place dogs.
Wow.
She has a deep feeling for animals, and she goes above and beyond where many of us would not go in order to look out for the welfare of animals. And so because of that, she has decided to do this thing and take some time off this week to do it.
Fantastic.
That's about as far as I think I want to go on that
What a
one.
great
because
thing
I
to
don't
do.
wanna- Yeah, I wasn't given dispensation to discuss the personal aspects.
That's
and
okay.
here I was thinking, when you get new throws or whatever
Yeah.
around the holidays, I put what I have aside to bring to the dog shelter because they need blankets and things along those lines. God, that feels so minuscule now.
No. I think that's a pretty great thing to do as well. I never thought of that.
Every
Yep.
little bit helps.
And-
There. We all do our part.
I had seen a dog. It was a rescue dog, and his name was Ziggy. I will never forget this dog as long as I live. And so I was just out and about, and I was driving. There's this dog. Well, the dog took an immediate liking to me, to the point, like just the eye contact. And he was up for adoption. That's why he was where he was. Just made eye contact. So they had him on a big long leash, and that dog went right to my car, right to the back door, stopped, turned around, and looked at me like, hello.
Whoa.
And
Great.
I took his picture. I posted it on Facebook that he was available for adoption. There was just this look
Right.
in his face. He was absolutely stunning. But we had a dog at home already.
Yeah.
I say we. It was our son's dog, which has now moved and took the dog
Right.
with him. But
Okay.
this Ziggy there was just something about that dog.
Right.
And I never forgot him.
That's great.
People are like that sometimes.
Yep.
And I imagine all kinds of creatures you can make a connection with.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But it's funny though because I was talking to somebody the other day, and I'm like, "Oh, wait a minute." I said, "I remember that dog. I remember the dog before people. Sometimes, It's like,
Sometimes they're nicer than the people.
Yes.
Yes.
I said, "Oh my God, I recognized your dog," and they started to laugh, and they were like, "We hear that a lot." Yeah, he was dressed for the holidays, so how could you not remember the dog?
Have you ever
saying.
had an animal?
Yes, just one. And I loved him so much, and I respect animals so much, I won't have another. Although I've reviewed that decision on a number of occasions, but I know that I'm not home enough to show them the love and attention they deserve, and I just can't do that. And today, of course, when I had my first dog, Laddie, I got him when he was 4 years old. We had to say goodbye when he was 17. He was aging out, couldn't see very well, couldn't get out of the way of a car, got hit, and we had to make a decision. But he had a really great life. I mean, he would go out on walkabout. You'd see him in a couple of weeks. He led a princely dog's life.
Wow.
But of course, we were out in Pascoag, and there was woods all around, and it's a rural neighborhood and stuff like that. And he it suited him very well. And he'd come home when he wanted to come home.
Yeah,
And
you
that
can't
was
do
it.
that nowadays, man.
Well, I know you got all
Isn't
these
that
leash
awful?
laws and
Yeah.
dumb stuff like that, and I'm saying, if I had ever done that, though, it would have crushed his spirit, because he wanted to run around. I mean, we only put a leash on him when we took him to the vet because the vet insisted. Except for that last time, we didn't put a leash on him because he wasn't going anywhere anyway. But that was it. Otherwise, he always had a collar, always had his shots, always had his licenses, but we never put a leash on him. There were lots of other animals that during my growing up, others in the family had, and they were either caged or they were on a line, with a leash on them and stuff, but their personalities required it.
Yeah.
Laddie never required that. He was just the most docile, fun-loving little doggy, and a little kind of like a beagle mutt mix.
Oh,
And so we miss him, but I couldn't do that to another animal, cage him up like that. So I said I would rather go without than to do that to another animal. So that's my story.
Wow.
But yes, I've had just one, and probably that's the only one I'm ever going to have now, unless somehow I, get out of the business and I'm not in a 24/7 business
Right.
anymore, leaving them alone. And I mean, I'm surprised Denise lasted this long.
Whoa! Whoa!
Her defense mechanism was to join me in the business in the office, so she'd see me once in a while.
Right.
I often joked about that. That was how that happened, because she wanted to see me once in a while. Oh boy! So all
I'm
right.
not going into this one at all.
I know,
No,
right? We're
no.
like staying
we're,
right
we're
out.
staying away from this.
Yeah, probably smart.
That's
move.
always been challenging working with your spouse.
Of course it is.
Yes.
Of course it is. But she's a special woman, and she's adapted to it. And I can be a trial, I'm sure, although I don't notice it. But she's just very special. So there you go. Now, let's see what we have here. Oh, we got some real ugly things that we can talk about here, but they would make some good
Your Christmas
conversation.
presents?
No.
Oh, okay. I was talking about ugly things. I don't know what you're leading into, but
Did you want to discuss the holidays?
I had a
We could happy
fantastic
talk our way
Christmas
out of the
present
segment
given
and
to
then
me.
switch into the stuff later on.
I had a fantastic present. In fact, I should have brought it here this morning.
Really?
Really?
Was it a dog?
No, it was
Bigger than a bread box?
no, it
Come
was
on, help me
smaller
with
than
this, Sue.
smaller than a bread box.
I'm like,
But it is this rubber chicken, approximately
I'm already laughing.
1 foot high,
Yeah?
and it's a plucked chicken. It has no feathers on it,
Uh-huh.
and when you squeeze it,
Yes.
it makes this raucous, awful sound, and that is really great. You know, you carry the rubber chicken around with you. You see something that's annoying, you just squeeze it, and it goes ah. Yeah. I was thinking of taking it to the office, but my good
Oh,
assistant.
better than that. How about the courtroom?
Whoa.
I'm just kind of like,
Gotta be a rule about that somewhere, right?
so I'm thinking of this rubber chicken.
Yep.
So not fully understanding is, you know, sometimes they do the those gift exchanges where it has to be a joke gift.
Yeah, right.
Or it has to be a good gift.
Like a Yankee swapper.
Right, the Yankee swap. I couldn't think of the name.
No, it wasn't
Okay.
a Yankee swap. It was a gift from my wife, which I imagine has some reflection on her relationship and affection for me. Yeah.
And a sense of humor.
Yeah, but it's a fantastic gift. But bringing it into the court, that is a great. I hadn't even thought of that, Sue. You're yeah.
What do you think Procaccini would say if you're a judge?
I would think that he probably wouldn't say much because the
He
sheriffs
doesn't
would be
impress
leading
me as a barrister that has a great deal of humor in the
Well, I
courtroom.
think before he spoke to me, the sheriffs would have me in cuffs and be dragging me out the door, and so it probably wouldn't make the front page that way. But,
No,
I think I'll
things you
put that
don't
one
want to
aside.
do at work, right?
Well, you may want to do them, but you won't do them. Yeah.
What's the term they
Things
use
you
now,
can't
Sue? They
do.
use a NSFW, not safe for work. They apply
I
it
use
to
different
anything
terms,
you shouldn't do at work.
I use
Hugs,
different terms.
You know, paper
Yeah, right.
airplanes, everything.
Right.
They apply it to everything.
No dirty jokes. No.
No, right? Yeah,
You know.
right.
Ah, darn. I'll just have to, keep it at home, and
Yeah.
when anybody makes a comment that.
Well,
I
bring it
think
in to
we're-
show it to Callahan next week. I'm sure he'd appreciate the.
Whoa. No. Sue's looking at me with those eyes that say, don't embarrass yourself
I'm
any
kinda
further.
like, is this really happening?
Oh well, it's just a fun little discussion.
I know, right?
And it did bring us to the point where you have to give us a second message for the call in time. So I figured-
Already, oh my God!
look at
How
that,
do I
huh?
follow a rubber chicken?
Yeah.
For the love of God. Okay, so again, we're getting into 2024. 2023 is coming to a close. We have
Ads in the paper.
Oh, nice.
Did you see that one?
No, because
Okay.
that wasn't one
Well, that's
of.
an insert, right?
Yeah,
goes
so that
in-
may have
that
come
goes
from our
in
other
at the
group of
printing press, not
papers.
where you are.
Exactly, it may have come from another group. So if you are looking to
Did everybody see the nice ad on Saturday? Oh, a lot of people mentioned it to me.
your nice ad, that was
you
a nice
pulled
ad.
that off. That's
Hey.
probably the nicest ad I've seen.
I think
in
we've
a
had the
long, long time.
conversation before that things can get done when you ask the right people.
Yes. Well, I asked you.
Yes.
I said,
Oh, I didn't mean it that way. I
Sue-
meant my asking the right people.
yeah, well, then,
not quite
well,
me.
then, but on my end, I asked you because you knew the
Yep.
right people
Well,
to follow
it
up
did
on
work out, and it was a beautiful ad.
Gorgeous.
Yep.
It just absolutely perfect. Did you see it? It had the Christmas lineup of all the programming, all the Christmas concerts on there, and
Yeah.
and stuff like that with lovely little. It was got like understated festive Christmas ornaments and evergreens and things like that in there. Very nice ad.
I think my Saturday papers are piled with my Sunday papers, which didn't exactly get read over the Christmas holidays yet.
Oh, because you're too busy playing with your chicken.
Well,
Right.
let's talk to Sue about the call and the
Okay.
times.
Okay.
All right,
So anyway, back to advertising. So if you're looking to really revamp your 2024 advertising, we do everything from creating websites, maintaining websites, friends to follow. So we're not just a newspaper anymore. We do digital, friends to follow. We just have a lot to offer. You can call me on my cell phone at 487-4136, and I'd be more than happy to help you come up with a new budget.
We'll talk. Thanks, Sue.
As
did
I
wanna
was
thank you
talking,
for
I'm
that,
like,
though,
Dave's
because,
kind of looking
it took
at
my
me.
breath away when I saw that ad. And I knew it was going to be like our last ad of the year, so we like spent the budget
Yep.
on it.
So the real person, I'm going to put it right out there, and I know he's not listening, but the real person, like, that I make a phone call to is Nick.
Nick is the guy
Nick
in
Yeah.
composition.
Nick is the guy. Call Nick. Nick, can we do this? Hold on, let me check. Yes, we can.
Yeah. Well,
But you
that's
have
great.
to know Sue to get through to Nick.
Yeah, right.
So,
Yeah,
you know,
you need me to
Well,
get
he's
to
not
him.
a public-facing person in the organization. She is.
and she's the
Right.
one
So
who
she'll
knows.
be the gatekeeper to Nick.
Well, she
Yep.
knows the way to get there and how to do it right, and so you call her.
Uh-huh. Well, that's good. All right. Well, listen, that's the Call in the Times, bringing you this portion of our Coffee and Conversation. We'll get back with serious topics in just a few moments. Krakow Deli Bakery and Smokehouse offers authentic homemade Polish food to make your next meal real special. Try our many varieties of hot and fresh pierogi with onions and dirty sour cream, or pick up golubki, kielbasa, babkas, or some fresh rye bread. We also offer a large selection of specialty and imported goods. We're open Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays from 9 to 6, Wednesdays 9 to 5, and Saturdays 8 to 5. Follow us on Facebook to learn about our weekly specials. Located at 855 Social Street in Woonsocket, Krakow Deli Bakery and Smokehouse has all the authentic Polish foods you love.
The Coffee and Panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee Roasters. All their coffee is roasted right here in Rhode Island. Down East Coffee Roasters is available at all Little General stores.
Have you heard of Scott McGee with Remax Properties? He's been selling real estate in Rhode Island and Massachusetts for the last 17 years, and you can see that he loves what he does. Scott, as well as his team, take pride in what they call the fair and honest team. No gimmicks. And no, they're not buying your house if it doesn't sell, etc. Just fair and honest real estate. Scott personally works with tons of sellers and buyers and specializes in residential properties as well as commercial, and he's always very fair and offers super competitive rates. Remember, this is probably the biggest move in dollars that you will ever spend or receive. You want to go with a trusted and experienced agent. Scott is fair, honest, and modest, always puts the clients first. And he also dealt with literally almost any situation. You really need to look at your real estate needs as a business. You want to pay and get the right money now so that you're not paying for it later. Trust me. So why not give Scott McGee a call at 401-639-2906. That's 401-639-2906.
Okay, thank you. Well, and we have a lovely little home to tell you about here. And let's put this up on the screen that Scott is asking us to discuss today. It is on 3 Carroll Drive in Cumberland. And there are about 29 individual pictures. And if you're watching WoonsocketRadio.com or our YouTube channel or Facebook Live or something, you get a chance to see a quick little picture of these things, but this is a really nice house. You drive by this place, you don't think there's much going on, but let me tell you, going on inside, you've got a screened-in porch at ground level on the south side, so it's south-facing, so you get plenty of sunshine there. Also on the south side of this little white ranch house on Carroll Drive in Cumberland, you've got a two-car garage with a private entrance. It's not attached. Sometimes that's better for insurance purposes, you know. I found that out because we have detached garage here, and insurance companies like detached garages. So there's that. And they've taken pictures all the way around. This is the one where it starts looking a little bit more, and I'll describe it for the radio listeners. We're looking at the back of the house now, and you can see that there's an outside entrance with a regular door into the basement, which you'll get a chance to see in a few minutes, is semi-finished to the point where it's quite useful as a nice recreational space. There's a big back porch that's got the weatherized. You get it at Pepin Lumber. I forget what the trade name is for it, but it's the artificial floorboards for the porch.
Yep.
It's all been redone in that. It's not as hot. It's nice, and it lasts a long time. And there's another thing that you notice here. There's a big old full house generator in the back, kind of tucked in the back so you don't see it from the road. It's the other side of the screened-in porch. That when the power goes out, this thing goes on and supplies all the needs for the entire building. Moving along, there's a nice look at that porch over there. As you can see, it's fairly expansive. It looks to me like it's 15 by 20, and it has the stairs going down to the garage from there, and it opens with sliding doors in the back. And there's plenty. I'll tell you right off the bat, the grass is not a showpiece. This is a house that's been lived in, and the grass could use a little TLC. But there you go. Nothing else you're going to have to spend money on the place. That's
these
for sure.
pictures were taken
It's
in
also,
wintertime. The grass is always
that's right.
kind of...
It's also got grass, and I should say natural gas, I believe I see on the side of the house over there. A mud room and trees. Now let's go inside. The living room. Updated and carpeted with an actual, honest-to-goodness fireplace. A working fireplace with bookshelves on either side of the fireplace. And that's adjacent to a little dinette area that has a kitchen right off the mudroom. All the appliances are in there, and plenty of shelf space when you take that around the kitchen sink. Oh, I notice a built-in dishwasher in there as well. And you combine that with the pantry on the back wall. So the sliding glass doors, and of course they're screened as well. There's lots of other little rooms in here. I'm not going to talk too much about them because it is tough listening on radio when you can't visualize. But you can see that this house is probably built in the 1960s, and it was contemporary at that time. It has been updated in many different ways. You can tell that it's from that vintage by the style and by some of the doors. You look at it and you say, yes, those are original doors in the place. Here's the bathroom, and it's again that like a taupey gray, which is so stylish these days. In fact, it's the color the walls of the studio are going to be this year. If I can ever get to get around to it. And the shower's been completely done. The tub is out. It's a nice little walk-in shower there. And they use a curtain in the shower to keep it from splashing out. Single sink, but nice wood trim on the vanity. There's built-in air conditioning unit there. It's all forced hot water for the heat. And even downstairs is heated. In the basement, I'm showing a picture right now of where the electrical panel is and a bar that's been set up downstairs. There's also some pinball machines in there for suggestions of what you can do with it. Sink area, the rest of that. There's even a piano in down there. So those are the things that are specific to this house. Storage area, room for expansion, things that you can do something with. And there's looks like gas heater for the hot water baseboards, and also hot water heater as well. Lots of different things in here. It can be a little workshop as well. Those are the pictures for 3 Carroll Drive, Cumberland, Rhode Island. If you go on the RE/MAX site, you can see it for yourself. And Scott McGee has the listing. And there you have it. Scott McGee, RE/MAX.
Very nice house.
That is nice, isn't it, huh? Okay, just handed a note from the fabulous Denise to the panel. Remember, the question that was asked about Mexico not helping with the border crisis. Well, they are helping now. Well, I guess you would have had to be here for yesterday's episode.
I was sitting here going,
Yeah, I know.
hear that.
The story was, Sue, that I met an expatriate Woonsocketer who married a man from Canada, and they live up in Quebec. And so they're living in French Canada now, and they came down for the holidays. And I happened to be right next to them. We're checking out at Ocean State Job Lot, and Shirley was chatting them up and talking about things. So I talked to them as well. And so what we came around to is how easy it is getting over the border into the United States from Canada. And the lady agreed. She says, actually, the United States and Canada are two good partners, because all right, I was born here in the U.S. and they do give me some heartburn coming back into the U.S., but that's just the U.S. being a little stuck up about stuff. In Canada, they don't mind when I go back. They're happy, but it's a good partnership. And this lady expressed the opinion, what we don't have on the southern border is a good partnership with Mexico. And that is our problem. That's the entire border thing. The germ of the issue is Mexico and the United States are not good partners with each other there. And she blamed it on Mexico because that's the only thing that's changed. The U.S. is the same as the U.S. on the northern border, but it's Mexico that's not as good as Canada. And that was their opinion. And now the note comes in, and I guess one of the news stories is that Mexico is making like they're helping out with the border crisis. Well, they've got thousands of people coming up from Honduras and South America and stuff like that. They've just entered Mexico. They've already told Mexico they're just passing through on their way to the U.S. And, of course, the United States is quite upset. And so they're sending emissaries down there to talk to the Mexican government. And the Mexican government said, yeah, come on down. I guess that's being helpful. But what are they going to do with them? And I guess that's their argument. Mexico's saying, what are we going to do with them? Okay. Takes care of the note.
Right?
But, I mean, I get what the caller's saying, and thank you for sending in the note. We get it. It's just, this is a tough problem. And as Mr. Larder will, no doubt, agree, it takes two to have a disagreement.
I would imagine you're correct. I mean, you can't
in
just,
its fundamental
unless you have a
sense, it takes
psychological
two to
personality where you have a
you could have a
split
disagreement with
personality. You don't have much of a disagreement. I'm right.
But that would still be two sides of your personality.
True.
Having a disagreement. Yeah, that happens. Sometimes the owner part of me gets in a disagreement with the programming part of me when I think this would be a nice thing to do on the air, and the owner says, yeah, but how are you going to fund it?
Yep.
That sort of thing like that. You get it. You are a business owner, too. And
Absolutely.
Bob, you're a business owner, so you don't think of a law practice as a business, but it is, right? The books better balance or everyone's in trouble, right?
True.
So
do you want us
go.
to lead into the immigration issue or leave that for another day?
Boy, would I love to get into that, but unfortunately there's no time right now. We have to take a little break here. It's almost the bottom of the hour, so I'll take a look at the weather forecast, and then we'll make a couple of comments, come back, and then we'll try to get into serious matters in the next portion of the show.
Rain is 70% likely before 2 p.m. today, patchy fog, cloudy skies, and a high near 48 degrees with a breeze in the northeast. Tonight, 40% chance of rain, cloudy skies, overnight low of 40. Friday's weather, 40% chance of more showers, cloudy skies, high near 45. Saturday, more clouds than sun with a high of 47. Sunday, New Year's Eve day, sunny with a high of 41. New Year's Day on Monday, partly sunny with a high of 42. Tuesday, sunshine and 41. And next Wednesday, mostly sunny with a high of 43.
Drought, war, and rising food prices have devastated families in poverty. $50 provides a food kit to feed a family for just a month. Just text the word radio. You know, the thing that Bob Pittman killed. To 97646. Oh, Dave, knock it off. It's 44 degrees outside.
Hi, I'm Kathleen LaValle at The Honey Shop. Check out our Facebook page at The Honey Shop RI, and there you'll see a whole list of our new classes and lots of fun things to do. You could join us for making limoncello, pizzas, pasta making, cheese making, so many fun things to do and learn.
Thanks, Kathy. Folks, if you love food, you'll love the Honey Shop, right behind the Dunkin' Donuts at Park Square in Woonsocket. For an Allstate agent, providing protection options that fit your life is something they take, well, personally. Allstate agents are committed to learning about your needs and helping customize protection to meet them. From bundling your home and auto insurance with ease to evaluating optional coverage, your Allstate agent can help build an insurance proposal that fits your life. And just as important as learning what you need is learning what you don't. Because helping you get coverage you want with savings you deserve is what Allstate is all about. It's time to get coverage that's catered to you. Are you in good hands? Call Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. One agency, two locations in North Smithfield and Bellingham. One telephone number, 765-5000. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Allstate Property and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
We've unlocked the vaults, and we're replaying Casey Kasem's American Top 40, the 80s. This week is from December 20th, 1986. That's when Genesis was living in a land of confusion. Carly Simon was coming around again. Cyndi Lauper had a change of heart, and the Bangles walked like an Egyptian. You'll hear those songs, all the top 40 hits, and the long-distance dedications from December 20th, 1986, right here on Casey Kasem's American Top 40, the 80s.
Sundays at 1 here on ON AM and FM radio. Good morning, everybody. Back to Coffee and Dave Richards here. Sue Tessie McKenzie is here. And Bob Larder has a message from his law office.
Good morning. Thank you. This is Attorney Bob Lauder. As New Year's Day approaches, I'd like to talk to you this morning about disasters. And you can make your own conclusions as to why New Year's Day equates with disasters. Both of the cases decided by the Rhode Island Supreme Court are pretty old. The first one involves a disaster which I first learned about from my mother. On a quiet afternoon in August of 1925, the excursion steamer Merrimack, traveling back from Providence to Pawtucket from Newport with about 678 passengers on board, suddenly exploded in Narragansett Bay, killing 36 of the passengers and crew. The captain and the engineer were each charged with manslaughter, and a boiler inspector was charged with aiding and abetting in the act of manslaughter. The boiler inspector objected to the charge of aiding and abetting the captain in the act of manslaughter. The inspector claimed that although it was alleged he was aware of the dangerous condition of the boiler and encouraged the captain and the engineer to use the boiler, there can be no accessory before the fact when the killing results from a sudden and unpremeditated event, which act is without malice and involuntary, such as the unexpected explosion of the boiler on the steamship. The Supreme Court of Rhode Island disagreed. The court ruled that some types of manslaughter may have an accessory before the fact. The issue for the jury would be whether or not the inspector, with full knowledge of the fact that the boiler was unsafe, could be held liable for advising the captain and the engineer to disregard their duties and negligently create the steam which resulted in the explosion. If you'd like to discuss legal matters with me, please call my office for an appointment. My name is Bob Lauder, and my telephone number is 762-4550. And the disclaimer. The Supreme Court of Rhode Island licenses all attorneys in the general practice of law. The court does not license or certify any attorney as an expert or specialist in any field of practice. Thank you.
All right. Well,
boy, I see you handing out envelopes with stamps on them.
This is a very interesting time of year, of course. The Milk Fund appeal, and you were asking about that, Sue. I forget if the mics were on or off at the time, but you were asking about that. And Bob, you were asking about the Milk Fund appeal. Usually it would be over here on New Year's, and when Sue was running it and down through many of the years. But times change. You have to change with them in some respects. The Milk Fund collection doesn't end on New Year's Eve anymore, and the appeal doesn't end on New Year's Eve. We stop asking for the money on Christmas Eve.
I was just going to say
And
when
then,
it was
right,
Christmas.
that hasn't changed.
Right.
But we have to allow more time for what we've asked for to materialize and be deposited, because it just doesn't get done in a week anymore. We see that happening. So all this week, of course, we've been receiving checks for the Milk Fund. And I haven't looked at all of them, so when you open them up, make sure that they don't want to be anonymous, because we want to respect that. You know that. But Sue, Community Care Alliance actually received a Milk Fund check, and they forwarded it up the hill to us. So would you read that one over there on your left, please?
That does not say community care.
No. They sent it to
Oh,
Community
they sent
Care
it.
Alliance.
I got you. Okay.
They received it, and then
this
Community
is
Care forwarded it.
in memory of Bob Joyle from Jane and Barbara Joyle. Do I say the amount?
Yes, please.
That is a $50 donation, again
you
in
very
memory
much.
of Bob Joyle.
Thank you very much, and thanks to Greg for sending that up to us. Bob, what do you have there?
I love it when people just send money through the mail. This doesn't happen in my office.
Yeah, I know.
It's a $5 bill. It says, "Dear WOON," enclosed as a $5 donation for the Milk Fund. Sincerely, Alex Naremis.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I gave you another one too, Sue,
Yep.
right?
I have from Nancy and Ray Benoit a $75 check. This one does not say in memory of anybody, but it is from Nancy and Ray Benoit.
All right. I have one I'm going to squeak in over here. There are a couple that require just a little bit of explanation. And this one right here, I think you'll enjoy hearing about. Came in yesterday. And my understanding is a good friend of mine brought it in, but I wasn't in the office to greet them. And I feel badly about that. But Diane brought this in, and she and Ronnie says hi. It says on the side of the envelope of it. That's Diane Bashon. A lot of people remember Diane Bashon and her tremendously unsuccessful relocation to Florida. She's been back here in Rhode Island for a couple of years
She was
now.
in Florida for about 10 or 15 years.
Yeah, well, they decided to come back to Rhode Island. I guess maybe because it rains here all the time instead of snows. I don't know, but she decided to come back anyway. And so she was just the messenger, because she's working with our friends over at Piet Jewelers at their new location in Bellingham. And I have a note here from the Big Elf. It says, "Great job, Milk Fund staff." It says there, the Majorca pearl necklace from Spain. The bid was $225. Someone got a great deal. This is Piet Jewelers' donation to the Milk Fund auction, and I totally agree with that. Batteries for December from the Battery Man. And this is the first year in ever so many years that I didn't get down there in time to get my battery. I'm still going to do it, but I didn't get a chance to get down there.
Right.
So it says here there were 174 batteries, and the Battery Man is rounding it off and giving us a check for $200 for the Milk Fund. $200
Wow.
in
Nice.
this check right here. Joyous holidays to all from Rita, Ryan, Ross, and Jen, and the Battery Man. Thank you very much, Roland. We appreciate that, and we really appreciate your helping with the Milk Fund every single year, so we're going to put that in as well. And these things will be typed up in the column The Times. We're behind a couple of deposits, and they're going to catch up, I'm sure, in the next week or two. And I have one more before Bob gets to his last one. And this one here, I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned this one because it's deep and touching my heart. And this is from Yvette Doiron, who's always been a good friend and a good listener to the station. And her husband, Ray, well, I always still call him Ray, passed away this year. And it was real heartbreak all the way around. But in memory of W.R.A. Doiron, from Yvette Doiron, we have a check here for $50 with Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year wishes to the staff. Thank you very much. Bob, what do we have there?
I have a $100 bill in my hand, which I am sure was really intended for my office, but somehow it's addressed over here. And
It's
it
an
says,
actual $100 bill?
Yes, a
Wowie
real one.
zowie. Yeah.
Nice and crisp and easily negotiable. And I'm surprised you handed it to me, man. I mean, with my
Coin of the
reputation.
realm. It's coin of the realm there, Bob.
Yikes. Anyway, it comes with a very nice note, and it says, please accept this donation to the Milk Fund in lieu of gifts for Kathy and Christopher Dion, in memory of deceased members of the Dion family. And, as I said, it's a crisp $100 bill.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm giving it back to
There
you.
you
Come
go.
on,
Of course
yeah,
you want
yeah.
it. I know that. Very good.
No, I don't want to, but I mean, people are watching, so here it is. Sue wouldn't let me out of the room if I.
There you go. There you go. All righty then. Well, thank you very much for the gifts, and they're coming in this week as they often do. And if you can't get it done by the end of the week, just keep in mind that we are accepting them for a few weeks into the new year. Usually we close everything off by February. The pledges have come in, especially corporate pledges. It takes time to process them. They don't get here in time.
Are you able to reveal how much you've recovered so far? Or
we can.
How much?
Yes. Well, the auction project, I always hasten to add, because I know that a lot of my friends who are on the auction committee remember, as Sue knows so well, Milk Fund Incorporated doesn't raise a nickel for itself. It's always other groups and organizations and people and stuff like that that just give the money to the Milk Fund. And when I mention this to people from outside the valley, they just admire it all get out. They said, how do you do that?
Yep.
There's no brick and mortar. There's no, there's a legal address of the treasurer for the corporation when we were obliged to become a corporation back in the 90s.
Right.
But that was a governmental thing. We had to appease the government. But it's still a grassroots organization, and everybody's a volunteer. There's no staff.
Nope.
Wow.
No staff at
no
all
volunteers.
for the Milk Fund. So the WOON project has gotten to be, and we're very proud to say that our Milk Fund auction this year brought in $1,821 on the last 2 hours alone,
Wow.
bringing our total for all 25 Milk Fund auctions to $13,260.
Wow.
And
Great.
That again, I say it again because my committee people are just gorgeous friends, and I think the world of them, and I certainly hope that they feel good and a certain degree of pride in knowing that it is the single largest contribution to the Milk Fund again this year, the auction project.
And that's the results of people donating gifts that are then bid on by the listeners.
Yeah, right.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and all that money came from either $1 per call or things that we sold for the Milk Fund. It's not really selling either. It's like, okay, we have this thing, we're going to give it to the person who pledges the highest amount for the Milk Fund. We set it up like an auction for the fun part of it, so people
Right.
get into it and stuff. But technically speaking, that's what happens. We missed a gift, and I've got more to say, but I don't want to miss this gift here, because this came in. Now, I'm going to have to rip the envelope because it's in there really good. And what an interesting thought. On the card, it says, "Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow."
Ooh. All right.
With Frosty up there and a little bunny rabbit looking up at Frosty. And look at this is another memory gift from the St. Joseph Senior Citizens Club, in memory of Rita Russo, who was a big supporter of the Milk Fund. You knew
Yep.
Rita. $50 to the Milk Fund for that. Thank you very, very much. That's St. Joseph Senior Citizens. We'll put that in the big envelope and get that deposited pronto for you. Now, I just made something about the Milk Fund auction, but I neglected to mention two things. First of all, there's still some pick up and pay to be done, and you have today and tomorrow to get it done. Really, by 4 o'clock tomorrow, we expect to hear from, and here's the list of people who have items here waiting to be picked up: Arthur S., Rhonda D., Louise Z., Amanda, Irene B., Lisa R., Kristen H., Davon, and Joe. We're all bidders. They have items here. We moved hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of items, and this is a mere handful that's still yet to be picked up. By 4 o'clock tomorrow, if you please. And that list, by the way, is at the office, and if you didn't quite hear it right, you want to get it repeated to you, call 762-1240, and the fabulous Denise will be happy to read the list back to you. Now, there was one last thing that I wanted to say. You kind of asked this, and I went a little around there because this is the last week we're really talking much about the Milk Fund. But the actual amount that's in the account today, and there's more coming. You just heard, we were just reading some more. The actual amount that's in the account today is $43,400.
Wow.
Right. The goal set by the board of directors is $50,000. And of course, Lisa would like to get more than that because she got $62,000 last year.
Right.
This has been a tough year. I can tell you that. This has been a tough year.
God, yeah.
Our auction is virtually the same as last year with a lot more effort. So this is a tough year. So if anybody would like to ease that a little bit, then that's very nice. We'd appreciate the help. Okay? All right.
That's impressive.
Well,
a lot of generosity out there.
Yeah.
And hard work.
All since Thanksgiving.
Wow.
Well, the auctions started the day after Thanksgiving, and the actual appeal started on December 1st. But there's some really great... I lost the word from my vocabulary. Events, that's the word I was looking for. Remember, you used to have some events.
Oh my God! I was just sitting here thinking of the Italian dinner we did when Barry was in charge. You know, the Milk Fund has always been, you know, near and dear to many people's hearts because it helps the working poor.
Mm-hmm.
You know, elderly that need, you know, the nourishment and children.
Number one category,
etc.
always funded, working poor.
Yep, working poor. That is the key. People that otherwise don't qualify for certain things
Right.
may qualify for the Milk Fund.
Right.
So it's always been, I remember Rosie.
At Rosie's Dairy.
Rosie's,
Oh,
yeah, it's
Luncheonette.
at Luncheonette, I was just going to say. And,
was
and
Rosie's
she
Dairy,
was
but
one of
Rosie's
them, and
Luncheonette,
she
yeah.
was not ashamed to say that her family had to rely on the Milk Fund at
Rosie
one point.
Cherwinski.
And once she was in a better place, you know, financially for herself, she then did a lot of contributions back to the Milk Fund.
Yep.
And that's what I've heard over the years. You know, my year
Because
we
the
had
board of directors, Bob, never gets the name of any recipient. For
Okay.
the board of
No,
directors,
they
we
don't
have
know.
we have absolutely no idea
No.
who's getting Milk Fund benefits.
Excellent.
Sometimes over the years, people have come to us and said that they were recipients, but that's
And you
all
never
we'll
know
ever
that.
know.
You don't know that. We find out when people decide to pay it forward from what they had received. And Rosie Cherwinski was one of them. So I always remembered her because John Dion always made a point of mentioning her, you know, doing photos and stuff.
Sure.
But yeah.
Very nice. Bob, can we have a second message from your law office,
Yes,
please? And we'll
please.
get on track. And I promise we'll talk about something serious.
Okay.
Some point
I
during
think the
the
Milk
day.
Fund is
Maybe
serious.
after 9
Might be
o'clock.
till next Thursday.
Yeah.
Good morning. This is Attorney Bob Lauder. The second case I'd like to discuss to you this morning involving, in a partial way, the disaster of the Great Hurricane of 1938. But the case began long before that. The case is known as Hayward versus Gerard. It started in 1907 when Hayward's mother allegedly loaned $7,000 to Gerard's father. The money was loaned over a period of time, and the defendant's father gave receipts for each of the payments. However, the receipts, stored in a safe, were lost when the family home was swept into Narragansett Bay during the hurricane of 1938. In 1955, the daughter of the original lender sued the decedent estate of the borrower for the money. The receipts were missing, but the plaintiff had several typewritten letters allegedly signed by the borrower acknowledging the loan of several thousands of dollars, but not the full loan amount of $7,000. The plaintiff brought in a handwriting expert to verify the signature of the borrower on the letters. After consideration, a jury brought back a verdict of $13,370 in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant filed an appeal to the Supreme Court. The defendant argued that the verdict represented a compromise on the part of the jury and therefore should be set aside. The Rhode Island Supreme Court disagreed. The court ruled that the verdict of a jury which is approved by the trial justice is entitled to great weight and should not be set aside unless it is clearly wrong. In this case, It appeared that the difference between the alleged amount of the loan, $7,000, and the judgment of $13,370 represented interest on the loan for the period from 1938 to the date of the trial, and that this calculation was appropriate to the amount of damages awarded by the jury. If you'd like to discuss legal matters with me, please call my office for an appointment. My name is Bob Lauder. My telephone number is 762-4550. And the disclaimer. The Supreme Court of Rhode Island licenses all attorneys in the general practice of law. The court does not license or certify any attorney as an expert or specialist in any field of practice. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. We'll return in a moment.
I'm Kathy Orovitz, president of Navigant Credit Union. Coming together as a family or a community makes this time of year special. Remember, there is joy in unity. From all of us at Navigant Credit Union, we wish you the happiest of holidays.
You can depend on us for public service. ON Radio.
All right, back on the air here on Coffee and on WON Radio. Nice to have you with us today. Well, let's see. What another note? All right, we'll get to something else in just a few minutes here. I do like to read notes from the audience. Let me just quickly scan this over here. A 1938 hurricane. The caller's sister was born during the hurricane.
Wow.
And her name is Lorraine. We call her Hurricane Lorraine. That's amusing. Yeah, that's good. Families will do that, won't they?
Oh, yeah.
What a great note.
Yeah.
Jeez. Okay.
Lorraine was born during the 1938 hurricane. And they call her Hurricane Lorraine. That's cute. I like that. I wonder if Lorraine's still with us. She'd be up there, wouldn't she?
1938?
Late 80s, wouldn't she?
Yeah.
Somewhere around there?
Yeah.
It's not that up there. That my
85?
mother's up there. My mother's 87, so this person could, by all
Okay.
means, still be around.
That's so your mother was born, what, in 36? Do you know?
Well, let's not get
We don't think
technical.
about it all the time.
We don't think about it that
No,
way.
we don't think about it. All right. Okay. So I have several different stories that you could talk about here today if we could get to it. And
I like Hurricane Lorraine best.
Yeah,
That's
so
I know,
that's
right?
really kind of fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you just want to talk about silly stuff? I don't know. Since Bob is here, I figured that we would bring out
Get
some
serious?
legal stuff.
Get
I
some
can bring
legal
out the
stuff. That's what
the
Joe
rubber
does.
chicken again. No, I guess
No,
not.
let's
Yeah.
not do that. Yeah.
Joe gets the so Bob, what kind of case does this person have? Or what
Okay.
kind of chances does he have of winning?
Let's go to the good stuff, what Dave has in his hand.
Well, it says
That's what
here
I'm saying.
that a judge has ruled now that the probable cause hearings will be public for 28 men known to the police alone right now that are accused of being customers at a high-end brothel ring in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Police are seeking the arrests of men accused of patronizing prostitutes at the apartments used as brothels in Cambridge and Watertown. A Cambridge District Court has begun the process of scheduling the hearings. The names of the suspects are not being released to the press in order to avoid a media frenzy. Too late, a higher court has already said that you can't have these trials in private. So anyway, there will be a media frenzy. The question is, when should it begin? Bob, you want to ring in on this?
When should the media frenzy begin?
Yes.
Well, first of all, in usual criminal proceedings, you have an arraignment. An arraignment is where the prosecutor has brought before the court.
Technically speaking, they haven't been arrested yet. So thank goodness the names aren't out there.
Well, the procedure would be the individual would be arrested. The prosecutor would bring before the court the alleged allegations of what the individual had done. The individual at the arraignment has the right to say, yeah, I agree, I'm really guilty of all this, and I'll accept the penalties.
Which
Or-
doesn't happen too often.
Well, it depends on which court you're in to start with. Or the individual says, I'm not guilty, and I want to go to a trial. Thereafter, they have a probable cause hearing. And at the probable cause hearing, then the judge will make determinations about what's going to happen at the time of the trial. Now, you can plead guilty in the district court to misdemeanors, but you cannot plead guilty in the district court to a felony crime. So if you're being charged with first-degree murder, usually the procedure is going to be that you're first arraigned in the district court. The district court judge will not accept a guilty plea in a felony case. He will require that you plead not guilty. They will make determinations as to what whether you'll be released on bond or bail, and the case will then be referred to the superior court, which does have the right to accept a guilty plea in a felony charge, or would have the actual trial on the felony charge. So in this case, until the individuals are actually arrested by the police department, I don't think that they should be revealing the names of the individuals,
Right.
because you're making a allegation that's not being substantiated, at least by the formal arrest. Once the formal arrest takes place and the individual then has the opportunity to plead guilty or not guilty, depending on whether or not it's a felony or misdemeanor, then I would expect that the names of the individuals could be released to the public.
Mm-hmm.
As for media frenzy, there must be something happening in Boston that's more exciting than this to cause a media frenzy. Maybe if they gave away free
Yeah, I
chowder
don't know about media
down
frenzy,
in
but I do think people are going to be interested because it involves the.
Well, they said there's
elites.
public figures.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
When
It
the story
involves
first broke, they
public
said
figures,
there's
so-
names of well-known people, public figures, in the list of 28 that authorities have secured
Yeah.
as from the records of the brothel as being clients. So
Well, that, of course, presumes that the individuals who were using the services of the brothel were using their real names. If I was going
I
to be
guess
doing
so.
something that I thought might be illegal, I'd probably be calling myself Dave Richards. And I'm not
I
going to
see.
be out there saying it's really me who's
that would
doing
explain
this.
the slanted looks I get from people.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
going to
Yeah,
think that no matter where they were, there are some cameras somewhere saying exactly who they are. That's
yeah,
just
yeah, they
my
could be.
guess.
Could be. Could be.
Nowadays, yeah.
Now, Bob, when you mentioned these things about the law and everything, I presume since the laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and the state of Rhode Island are both based on English common law, and because of our proximity geographically, by and large, the law, the procedure is the same in Massachusetts as you just described.
I can't tell you Massachusetts law because I'm not licensed to practice there.
Right.
But it would certainly be the law in the two states I am allowed to practice in, Rhode Island and Virginia.
Right.
And it's pretty common throughout the United States. It's statutory law. It's not common law. The state
I'm sorry.
legislatures have established these are the statutes, these are the laws under which we operate in this state. And with regard to criminal cases, they're pretty much alike.
There's a great similarity between states in that way.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's very interesting. Now, the other question that I have to ask you is securing a prostitute and doing a business deal with a prostitute. I'm trying to clean this up, and I'm doing it poorly. Is that a felony or a misdemeanor in Rhode Island?
I don't practice criminal law, so I can't tell you. I would expect it's going to be a misdemeanor, but I can't guarantee that.
Okay. All right. Well, so it's a misdemeanor, so they could plead out in district court then.
Well, usually anybody who is charged with any kind of offense, if it's a misdemeanor, they should have legal counsel there representing them, and they would probably plead not guilty and then see if there is some kind of mutually agreeable resolution that can be resolved between the prosecutor and the defense that's not going to go to a full trial. Mm-hmm. Because if you go to a full trial, first of all...
That's the media frenzy, right?
Well, I'm not sure it's a media frenzy. I mean, I would think in Boston, if they were giving away free chowder in Scully Square, that would be a media frenzy. But
Now, it will be, I like the word media frenzy, but I'm telling you, people want to know who these
discuss it.
people are. And, you know, if it's a situation where if you're not there to record, film, or whatever, you could lose out on something very newsworthy.
now, would the
So-
Call Times be taking part in a media frenzy?
Well, I don't know. I'll have to check with Ernie, see if he's going to go up and take some pics.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Darn.
But that's what it is. If the
He could take
news,
pictures of the 28 and ask them if they plan on traveling for the
we
holidays.
could put them on the front page with the, what were your thoughts on this? But yeah, if media outlets are not there and something really becomes of the, who these 28 are, they lose. I mean, you see that all the time on TV, not on movies where they all want to know who's who, but then it may not be worth their time. You don't know,
Well, if you're asking if they're traveling on holidays, I suppose a lot of it depends if they're out on bail.
right?
That was the joke I was making.
Oh.
How
Okay.
far will the ankle bracelet
I was
go?
making light of the
Whoa.
situation. Hey, did you hear about the guy who? This is in Massachusetts. I don't think I can pull it up right away, but I think when I mention this, you'll remember. There's a guy who is under house arrest, in Massachusetts. And he's just been taken out of his house for the second time and thrown in jail because he refuses to charge the ankle bracelet. It's got a battery in it, and it discharges over time, right? And he just refuses to plug it in and charge it up. It's not my job, you know. So then the signal goes down, and they go over to the house and they say, "You didn't charge the thing again. Come with us. If you're not going to charge it, you can't stay in your house."
Makes perfect sense to me. You have
It
when
does?
you're released on bail,
Yeah.
there are certain rules and regulations that you accept are an impediment on you, or an obligation that you have in order to retain your bail. And if part of it is you're supposed to charge your battery operated ankle bracelet and you refuse to do it, you're violating the terms of your bail. Just as you'd be violating the terms of your bail if you went out and robbed a liquor store during the time you're on bail.
Well, that's the whole idea. Bail is designed for those who will peaceably live amongst us to await the process.
Yes.
Yeah, and if you're not going along with the provisions of that agreement, then that's it. Now I'm sure
Right.
it says you got to charge your device, just like you do your phone.
He made a choice.
Yeah, I guess so.
But initially, one would think, I know, initially, hearing what you just said, I would have agreed with the guy and said, no, you want it charged, you come to my house and do it. Until you hear your perspective as an attorney, and that makes sense. That's part of your reasoning for being able to be home instead of in jail. And
Right.
that's you, therefore you have to follow suit.
'Cause I can't imagine anyone that I know who would say, "Nah, I think I'd rather be in jail."
Right.
You'd say, I have a house, I'm paying for the house or apartment, whatever it is, a dwelling space. And I have my own TV, I can cook my own meals, or maybe I got family, I can get visits, whatever the situation is, far better than being in jail. And having to go along with that routine like that, and being away from everybody. At least sleeping in your own bed at night is like at big points, right?
Right.
So you make a deal saying, I'll be a trustworthy citizen if you let me out of here to go sleep in my own bed. Let's make a deal. They make the deal, and part of the deal is keeping up.
Just that, yeah.
Right, with charging up the ankle. You got to wear the bracelet and you got to charge it. And now it looks like he's trying to change the deal by saying, yeah, I don't want to charge.
It's not my job. Yeah, no.
Okay. Well, it's been a delightful conversation. We did get to something meaty toward the end of the show.
Well, we
didn't
had to get something legal because,
Yeah.
Bob's here. So you needed to,
And we got something milk fun because you're here.
Yeah, right.
And we got the
there you go.
hurricane story, which is really, really
Oh,
great.
I love that one. Hurricane Lorraine. Oh, my goodness. Maybe we should have her on the show.
Right?
Hurricane Lorraine. Maybe we should have her on the show.
I think you should get the exact date, to the day.
That'd be
of-
September 19th, 1938, if I remember correctly.
I think it's September.
I wasn't there.
Neither was I,
Yeah.
despite what Joe thinks.
Yeah. Bob, thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you for inviting me. Hope to be with you guys next week.
And Sue, it's been a blast.
Thank you for having me. Have a good end of the week and hope all is well in the new year.
It's been great sitting here with good friends and chatting this morning. I hope the audience enjoyed eavesdropping in. Tomorrow on the Coffee and Show, Melissa Murray will talk about dogs. And we'll have the rooster in here, Richard Lane from Post 85, talk about what's happening over there, too, as we finish out the week without Joe. And to my good friends here, I just want to tell you both, my fondest wish for you both is that 1 year from today, we're both here together, all three of us here together, wishing each other a Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Make it a good day, everybody.
Thank you.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of